So that's that. And once we are in the camera, we can use this to find a cool position. So let's just say we think this looks pretty cool. And the way to move the camera around, there's a few different ways to do it. You can go into view and then, I believe, lock camera to view, and then, no, sorry, camera to view here. And so then you can move around like you do in Blender with just the same mouse wheel, the shift and mouse wheel and all that, to kind of easy position the camera, which is quite nice. And then you can just toggle it off once you're done. But what I usually do is I go press Shift F, and this is something you gotta assign, so I'll show you how to assign it. But then you can move around like you're in a video game, like you're flying around, and then right click to cancel it. And the way to do this is to go to View, Navigation, and then Walk Navigation. And here you press Change Shortcut or Add Shortcut. In this way I will press Shift and F, and there we go, that's the shortcut now. So then you just press Shift F and then you can fly around, and once you mouse click you're out of it. But then you save the position. If you want to cancel that, you just right click and you go back to where your previous camera location was. So let's press Shift F, get into a cool position, let's say like this, and then I'll show you how to render it out. Also, you can see these kind of grids and everything. To toggle that on and off, you press this button. But you can also see there's a shortcut for it, which is Shift-Alt-C. So that's something I've been using a lot recently, to toggle the grid and overlays on and off. Shift-Alt-C, which is really useful to kind of see everything better. And let's render this out. So this is in cycles now, but the standard is Eevee. So if we just start with Eevee because that's the most accessible thing, and I can go over some of this this stuff. So ambient occlusion, it kind of adds these creases and shadows, which is something that's very nice to have on. Bloom adds like a glare from shiny or bright stuff, and you can always tweak these settings to your liking. So maybe it was a little bit intense. Ambient occlusion, you can also tweak that with the distance here, but it was good as it was. Then we have screen space reflections, and this kind of calculates in how the shadows and lightning is. And so normally I believe it's like this, but you want to turn off half rest trace and then turn on refraction. This is also to get stuff transparent in Eevee. And then we go into shadows, and here we can turn on the shadows to a higher density, I guess, and then press high bit depth, and then you get better quality shadows. And one super cool thing we can do as well is turn on the depth of field, but you don't really do it here, you do it in the camera. So if we access the camera, then we go into the camera settings here on the right. Then we can have this depth of field thing. And we toggle that, and you can see instantly it got a little bit blurry. And here we can do the focus distance. So we can either use the eyedropper, select it and select the target, and it will instantly focus to that target, which is quite nice. But we can also do what I like more, is if press E on the focus distance. Press E there, and then you get the eyedropper and you point it. It will point precisely to that point. Because if it is with the it's with the object selection, you see this orange point. This is the point of origin, and that's where it will focus. So usually that's like in the middle of an object. Now everything of this is parented to this, so that's why the point is down there. But usually it's just in the middle of the object. That's the standard. So let's go back to the camera and use this point selection to select the focus point. And this is something you can do to quite quickly get an effective render, something that looks cool and nice. And we can change the f-stop. The f-stop is is kind of the focal length of the camera. That's something that's in all cameras, so you can see how everything got blurry except the focus point we chose. And then we can go back and choose this one instead. You can see it's focused just about where we select it. So that's something that's quite nice. And now it's of course way too intense, but you know, a little bit of a blur can really add some realism. And I think that's about it for kind of the camera and movement. But Shift A, that's to add stuff in. So let's just add a plane, so they have like something going on. And if we press tab, you go into edit mode. And 1, 2, and 3 is different selection methods. So 1 is points, which are these vertexes. 2 is edges. It's better to see it if we have it in this grid view. So you can see edges, points, and 3 is faces. So that's the whole thing. But let's select 2 of these edges. Then we press E to extrude and C because we want to do it along the C axis. So we can drag that up. This way we have a little room. And to add some interesting, we can choose one of these faces, press E to inset it. Maybe let's do actually Control R first, to subdivide it, to like get a split down here. So we can see where the split will come. Once you have that, you can, if you don't click anything, you can choose where the split you want it to be. But it was good just down the middle here, I think. So Control R to get that. It stands for loop cut. Then we can choose one of these faces, or we can actually choose both of them. Press I to inset, and you can see they're not insetting individually, they're kind of connected. But if you press I again, they will inset individually. And so we can do that, and then we can scale them a little bit down on the C-axis to get a more square cut. And then we can delete them by pressing X and then just the faces, because we want to have some windows. So if we go back in here now, and we can rotate the camera a little bit. We'll get some windows there in the background, like this. And maybe we'll just move this guy around. So if I press G, you can move him around. So G and then Shift C to move around, and then rotate R and then C to rotate around the C-axis. This one as well. Shift Z, R, C. And then we got the windows in the background. So what we can do here now is to get into the material edit stuff. Firstly, I'll just refocus this. So E and then focus on this guy. And so we got to play with some lighting. And so what do we have here now for lighting? I believe we have an HDRI. Yeah, we do. So let's delete that. And let's just go into, sorry, let's not delete that actually. Did I delete it for good? I deleted it for good. So let's just pick it up again. Yeah, let's just go for this one. And we can just darken it a little bit in the HDRI. Rotate this guy back. So this is what we see, and this is what our render will look like. And you can see it's transparent in the background. So this is actually not standard. This is something you turn on. But I've done it for this file already. But it's here. So here we can see the background, and now if you press transparent, it will just render out with a transparent background. So, but for this, maybe we want to see the background. And maybe it was better with it a little bit brighter. Yeah, just like this. This is something very, very simple. And I'll just tweak a little bit in the camera here. I'm not happy with it. It's too blurry. That's better. Turn the f-stop up a little bit. And let's add the light. So if we press Shift A, then we can have some options to add here. And then let's add a light and an area light. I like area lights. and so we can make that. We can turn up the strength, and so there we go, some lighting. And usually what I like to do is to have some lighting behind them, so maybe we can do it like this, get it out of the way, and you can see the lighting passes through here because it's an Eevee, and it's just an issue basically with Eevee. And what you can do is go into add modifier and then solidify. I think we get it a little bit thicker, so like that, and we don't have that same issue where you see the light through there. And so yeah, we can add some lighting to these guys. Maybe add another light over here. And there we go. That's like something. But I don't think this tells a very good story, so we can focus more on that next time. But until now, this is this is some basic stuff. And yeah, sorry, let's go over one last thing, which is rendering out. And to do that, you can go into render and then press render image, and it will render the current image that you're in. There's also a shortcut for that, which is F12, and then you render it out as well. And how to get this to exported, you press image, save as, and then you can save it somewhere. And that's about it. So thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something today.